Ooh, big suspense. All right, we're there. We're there. Live from the Crescent Moon Temple. It's the morning show with your host, Tolinar. It's time to play the music. Switch all the cameras on. It's time for the morning show, and I'm going it alone. Just quickly check the chat room. There is nobody home. It's time for the morning show, and I'm doing it on my own. The host that gets the audience. It's too close to TV. I've got to change the melody. It's all depends on me. Let's try again. The host that gets the audience. It's what I'm here to be. There's no one even watching. This all depends on me. Yeah. All right. Doesn't sound anything like it. We're safe from copyright, people. Quickly check Twitch integration. All systems good to go. It looks like the mic's okay. We're fine for audio for now. Pick a topic of discussion. Something I ought to know. Modern news is terrifying. I think I'd rather keep things surprising. Why don't we talk about society and social expectations? Not. That topic is officially vetoed due to modern news. Holy crud. Let's just hit everybody with a car. We're going to talk about mirroring and seduction. Because I don't want to even get close to modern information. Oh my God. No. All right. Today's morning show is brought to you by the letter Q and the number 4. And by viewers like me. Because, baby, I'm it. Okay, let me see if I can find a nice cup of milk. You can start that BGM now. Kick it in, please. How we doing? Volume's okay. All right. All right. I really should set something up independent of the switchboard. That way I don't got to worry about it. But kind of doing whatever I'm doing. I don't want to try too hard. I don't want to make a big effort and then disappoint myself with the outcome later, which would almost certainly happen. Let me wash my cup up. It was lazy, so now it needs a bath. Dishes. Let's see. Today is currently Thursday. It is the 8th of January. We're about a week into the new year, and it's cold out there. Ooh, it's cold everywhere except the southern hemisphere. Just having a fine summer. My gosh. We're gonna do some yogurt milk this morning, some lassi as usual. Give this one last good shake up and pour off the lasses for me. Maybe I'll get to making some. Not that hard. It is pretty rewarding. Delicious. Update my calendar. Yeah. Yesterday I didn't play Blueprints, not that anybody noticed. Nice time out there. Doop-a-doop-doo. Yep. Just sort of having a good day. Doing whatever. Let's see here. Yeah. All right. Let work on that. Bugs, 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 bugs. Don't want it. Okay. Cleaning up. Cleaning up. Cleaning up. Ooh, pardon me. It's nice. It's nice. Mm. Just working my way through it. Busy morning. Lots of things to think about. Not. Not really. No. We're fairly quiet in here. Fortunately, I can take my time because it's my morning show and ain't nobody watching it. So if this takes a little while, that's okay. Very, very okay. All right, I think we're ready to go here. I want to talk for a while about mirroring and seduction. The drive for emotional connection can be very strong. And when you want someone to like you, it can be tempting to take steps specifically to attract them. And some of this I would consider fair game. Let's be honest. Everybody likes somebody who smells like fresh soap. Everybody likes somebody who has just finished exercising. Everybody likes somebody who can cook a beautiful meal. And there are certain round shapes and proportions that affect pretty much everyone. Everybody loves nice back muscles, right? So when it comes to sexual and sensual competition, there are certain areas that are fair game. When you're trying to attract a partner, I would consider making yourself as attractive as possible in various ways to be absolutely fair. It's said that all's fair in love and war. I don't agree with this, though. I think there are things that are over the line. And I want to talk about what they are and why I've come to that conclusion. But before I do, I want you to bear in mind that this is in fact my opinion, and it doesn't represent the law of the universe. That said, I think my opinion is fairly well rooted in reality. It's considered and keeps in mind the best interests of everyone. So, when I was in college, I realized that it is 100% possible to pretend to be someone likable for the sake of attracting someone else. There are behaviors and mannerisms that you can take on that convince the other person that you are similar. And people have a tendency to be attracted to similar people. You want to talk to someone who has similar interests. You want to be around someone who has a similar psychology. It goes like this, you know? There's a lot of things like this where people who have a similar mindset, people who have a similar concept of existence, have a tendency to be more interesting. So it is tempting to pretend, perhaps. Let's go over the basics of it, shall we? You can position yourself so that you are in parallel to someone. You can synchronize your breathing with them. You can match their vocal intonation. Try to match some of their vocal patterns, you know. It's possible to pull in a variety of pieces of information and pretend that you have similar hobbies and interests. You can suggest that you're in particular interested in the aspects of a person that you don't necessarily care about. This, I think, is a very strong disservice, not only to them, but to you. Romance is already a minefield, primarily due to the fact that people, how to put this? People have this tendency to very easily fool themselves. People have a tendency to very easily deceive themselves on it's very easy to convince yourself that someone is something that they aren't. It's very simple, very, very easy to imagine that someone feels or thinks in ways that aren't true. To imagine that they're more similar to you than is actually the case. We take aspects of ourselves that we would like to see in others and we project. We push these feelings onto other people. And that can be a mistake. Because eventually, the fantasy has to break. At some point, we have to take a step back and say, oh, well, wait a minute. Maybe this person doesn't take as much of an interest in humor as I might have thought. Maybe this person is actually quite different than how I imagined. That can be a difficult thing. When someone is different than how you imagine them, it can put pressure on a relationship, and it can very easily turn into an unfortunate problem. But you don't have anyone to blame for projecting but yourself. You're the one who fooled yourself about who they are. You emotionally convinced yourself that they were similar to you because that's what you desired. And in that case, the conclusion you reached is your own fault. Not the person who may have done such a thing, because what did they do? Were they just themselves? You see where I'm digging at here with this. It's very easy to get carried away, but it's only more easy when this incorrect supposition is supported by somebody who is trying to convince you. This can get really ugly really fast. People are already very eager to believe things that may not be true about another person. It only gets worse when somebody intentionally deceives someone else. Eventually you have to be yourself, and I think eventually should be very, very soon into meeting someone. Some of the best connections that I've ever had with people were ones that were exceptionally natural. I think that it's especially good to be your full self around someone. And so I am well aware that there are things you can do. There is a difference. I want to take a side note to growing and changing with someone, okay? When someone is gradually changing to suit a relationship, that's kind of normal. People gradually change all the time, and one of the things that can motivate those changes is forming a strong connection with someone. So it's entirely possible for a person to gradually change over time because they are, just around someone who they find interesting, who opens their minds up to new hobbies, who suggests better ways to live their life. Anything from learning to cook something new to applying better habits, picking up running, exercise, that sort of stuff. I think that it's good. I think that it's good when people are like this and allow themselves to change gradually to better suit a connection. But if you artificially pretend to be someone you're not, if you artificially push yourself into that situation, then it can only end badly, honestly. Even trying to just benefit from hanging around a person or taking physical advantage of them. Eventually you're going to want to have a normal connection with them, aren't you? And if you go around breaking hearts like that all the time, trust me, it's going to catch up with you. People are going to stay away from you if they figure out you are a garbage person. So, you've got to work out the baseline, what is acceptable. And it's a difficult tightrope to walk, honestly. It's not one I've ever been especially good at maneuvering. I have a tendency to be too honest about myself. I have a tendency to open up too much about my personality, my nature. And because of that, I suppose I push people away at times when I don't need to. Well, the best thing that I could do would be probably do my best to appeal to someone while still maintaining myself, still being me. It's a delicate enough topic, but there's a lot of things like artificially connecting with someone by taking an object of theirs, the whole get their watch thing, that sort of stupid. I think that artificially building a connection is almost borderline hostile. There's certain things you absolutely should avoid doing. And if you think to yourself, well, it's fine because I'm young, or it's okay because it's just harmless fun, you're not giving enough respect to another person's heart, in my opinion. Anyways, this topic is a bit heavy. I think I'll cut out of it. It's a bit of an early morning topic that I think it's good to talk about when you're half asleep and you have something good to express. But I've said what can be said about it. I personally find mirroring and seduction reprehensible. And I think a person should be themselves when trying to form emotional connections. That said, you should be aware when someone is trying to use these techniques on you. It is entirely possible that you will encounter people in your life who think an emotional connection with you is so valuable that they would pretend to be more similar to you than they are. There are places where this could almost be considered acceptable. People do this at work, for example, trying to get along with coworkers that they think are annoying or ingratiating or stupid. They will pretend like it's fine, and there's a level where this is just being diplomatic, you know. Going along with someone's vibe for a short time, just trying to match the tempo of the room, that's human social behavior in a nutshell. Here comes the cat. No, I don't think so. What is it? What do you want? What do you want? You're just gonna climb up on top of me again. You want the candy, that's a chocolate. You can't have that. Absolutely not. Don't flop on that. Okay, flop on that. See if I care. Anyway, it's not like anyone's watching. Here you go, kitty. Yes, good morning. Good morning. Good morning. The cat is very straightforward and nah, it's out of here. It's like, nah. Nah, you're bony. Couldn't find a comfortable flopping position, so I'd head out for a crispy. Anyway. I'm having a candy bar, little tiny one. Holdover from Christmas. Well, it's ordinary social behavior to try to meet someone halfway. You know? Being empathetic, we have an entire motive set for it. So when someone shows a whole bunch of excitement for football, well, yes, the Seahawks, they're having a big season, I guess. Sure. Maybe look up the score of the latest game. But, you know. Social behavior is designed to help maximize the benefit to humanity of having varied interests. You pick up on what other people are doing. Because, is my mic on? Yes. There could be benefit. There could be aspects that suit you, that are positive. And, you know, it's okay to go in halfway. But as you move through life, you might also find people who try very hard to get close to you and try very hard to convince you that you're their favorite person and that there's all good stuff all around them. You have to be wary of these sorts of people in particular. You have to be cautious. It's one thing when you want a person to like you, and so you do everything you can to convince them that you like them. And it's something else again when you try to convince someone of the opposite, that they like you. Telling a person you like them, well, that's a form of honesty. And it requires a great deal of bravery. And, you know, it doesn't always end well. But it can also open the door to interesting situations. On the other hand, trying to convince someone that they like you, I can only see that as generally insidious. It's one thing to want to be liked, and something else to try and sell someone on the idea of liking you using deceptive tactics and trickery. The cat's all about trickery, aren't you? Cat had its crispy and now it's back up here. It's hanging out nearby, but it recognizes that I'm doing the morning show by now. It doesn't want to get in on that. Like, oh no, he's got his phone and he's talking like nonstop. I think he's doing morning show. Cat's licking. It's a sad cat. He's like, man, Might as well groom. Poor thing. Oh, kitty, I'm so sorry. But that's how it goes. You flop on me for 13 hours. She's just gonna get up here anyways. How you doing, Mana? Like, nope, Boney. There you go, kitty. There you go. There you go. Get the hips. Oh, that feels good. Yes. We like it. Yes. Mana keeps getting thrown off in the middle of the night. I'm trying to sleep. Cat's climbing on me. I'm like, get off. Here she comes. Gonna go. She's gonna flop. Okay. Hi. She's making an effort. Is she trying to seduce me? Ooh. Ooh. Maybe not. Oh, she's power purring now. Showing off your talents is one thing, baby. You can play an instrument, then by all means, hit it. But convincing someone that you play guitar when you don't, because you think that's what they have an interest in. Oh, they have an interest in guitar. Well, I strum on the hamstring. Well, I think that's pretty terrible, honestly. Now, I have a very pointed picture of lust. I mentioned it before. But lust is not what people think it is. Being horny is not a crime. In fact, getting aroused is an indicator of a healthy human being. And only those who are possessed of a certain unique youthful power are capable of it. It's not necessarily something to be feared or opposed so much as treasured. It's beautiful in its own way, although it can inspire behavior that is not so beautiful. Lust is when you force a relationship on someone else when it's not what they want. I think it's an especially insidious form when combined with lying, where if a person knew who you really were, they wouldn't want to have a connection with you. So you lie about who you are and trick them. I think that's disgusting. I think that's horrible. And I personally am not opposed to sensual behavior. I'm not a prude by any stretch of the imagination. I understand that the sin of lust is attempting to emotionally manipulate someone else, attempting to force someone into a connection that they don't want, and that can take many forms. When a parent forces a young man to stop expressing their sensual emotions, attempt to force them to repress that, that's lust, unfortunately. That's forcing a specific type of emotional connection on someone else who doesn't want it. Controlling someone else's sex drive, well, unfortunately, it's necessary with teens sometimes, because they ain't got the best sense, and education is difficult. So what do? Well, you take the lesser of two evils. No parent wants to have to do that. It would just be easier to trust your child. But then when it is your child, the situation is not so hypothetical. It is very different. And you don't want them to end up with a very real problem, because children too soon is a major complication. And young people are possessed of incredible power that they don't always control. It's not that they can't, it's that they don't. So, no, you have to be the brake to that accelerator until they develop brakes of their own. And that can take a while. You know, it can be 40 years into their life before they realize that maybe they need to not seek every single door that they can possibly open ever. Before they begin evaluating connections for quality. And it can be an unpopular opinion, you know, that a person should be allowed to find someone else attractive or even have sensually intense fantasies about them, and not oppose that. I think that's okay. I've always thought that's okay. A person's mind is their canvas. They can imagine whatever they want. A person can dream about anything and everything. Although there's a hell of a twist in it recently, this AI nonsense sure has dredged up a monster, hasn't it? So here's the thing. I see the use of AI generation to bring fantasies to life as an extension of your own imagination. You're just asking something else, an inanimate object, to help you imagine it. And that's fine, I guess. I think that it's no different than going into Photoshop and tooling around with someone's photo, which kind of creepy, but you do you, I guess. But there's a second half to you do you. You don't do someone else. I am in particular appalled by the addition of AI to Twitter, because it means that all of these fantasies and ideas which should be kept private are now out in the open, in public, for everyone to stare at and say, "What the hell are you thinking?" People don't need to know that. People don't need to see that. Every time you squeeze a small amount of satisfaction out of yourself, you don't have to go to the person and shake their hand and be like, "Hey, thanks, I had a great time." What are you doing? Okay. That's almost the very essence of lust, forcing an emotional connection on someone else who doesn't want it, doesn't need it, didn't know about it. Oh boy, stay in your corner. Ugh. So, what can be said about this? When people are using generative AI and its relatives to have fun in a private fashion, I don't have any opposition to that. I don't care what they ask it to draw. I don't care what people ask it to modify. I don't care. I don't think that people should care. It's not your place to say what someone else does with their technology. If someone has a computer and they choose to use some feature-y thing to build this out, well, good for them. The question is, how are they impacting other people with this? What they shouldn't do is put anything like that in distribution, because now they are increasing the prevalence of those negative thoughts. You shouldn't go give other people ideas. If you can't stop thinking about Martha Stewart that way, okay, good for you. That's nice. I don't need to know about it. Martha doesn't need to know about it. Snoop better not find out about it. He will not. Anyways, where am I going with this? If you have to create AI-generated nonsense of Martha Stewart because you are driven to it, fine. Knock yourself out. Go for it. But don't distribute it, okay? It doesn't need to end up on the street corner. And that means that if it is in a public venue, you just don't do it. Grok has no business with Martha Stewart. Not unless she herself is using it to edit a Christmas photo, and I'm sure she can already do it on her own. Thank you. No. Not necessary. Get over there. The problem with this is we are about to enter an entire segment of our lives where we deal with social growing pains. We are going to have to accept the fact that the internet is not anonymous. We're going to have to deal with the fact that we have social consequences for our behaviors on the internet, because people have put power tools out there that allows them to attack other people in person like libel and slander attack very easily. You end up with Snoop Dogg in a G-string. Sorry. These aren't visuals that anyone needs. Even the description is vulgar. Okay? Oh, I apologize for the visuals. This is a bit out there. My point is, that we have to maintain a certain level of public decorum. This is mainly coming back to culpability. When people behave like this, they need to be culpable for it, you know? It's the same thing as posting a 4,000 word dirty story on the internet. Why would you do that? That's And worse yet is when they do this on someone else's feed, on someone else's timeline, where it's right in the mess. They don't need to see that. They don't want to think about that. You're awful for forcing it on them. Perhaps even worse than the mirror. Because when it comes to mirroring, at least the person has a positive imagination of you. Although I think lying to them is just as bad, but taking just violently is pretty awful. And I think generative AI can be very violent, very awful in its effect on people when it is unduly used. On another day, I talked about how AI can move towards finding its own style and becoming a true artist, right? You can move AI towards true art by making it feed back on itself, by making it self-recursive. When AI stops copying other people and starts copying itself, it can develop an art style, its own art style. And it's okay if it has to draw inspiration from a few thousand artists. That's how a real artist gets started. Given we don't copy pixels, but we see art we are inspired by. We try to copy it by hand. And over the course of many years, we develop our own style, mostly due through self-repetition, right? Anyways, we're getting pretty far away from the ideas of seduction and mirroring. As a cautionary note, though, I think that people who use AI inappropriately will become more common before they become less common. Eventually, the social structure must be reworked. It's not the first time this has happened. We had to first face the possibility that photographs could be false, thanks to Photoshop. And then face the possibility that audio could be false. And then face the possibility that video could be false. Independently marked sources. Ensuring that the media that we receive is genuine through signature is going to be more effective than the counterpart. Rather than mark AI as false, you mark images and media as genuine. By having these timestamps, these footprints, these marks of authenticity, we can come to accept a specific set of data as real. And this way we can weed it out from apart from all of these other AI systems. And yes, there will be bad actors who try to fake authenticity. And there's not much we can do except say, no, that's not real. Somehow we veered again. We're talking about, well, I think that seduction and AI carry a lot of things in common. I think modern use of generative AI is a fairly lustful act. When not properly privatized. If you are using AI and no one ever sees it but you, it doesn't matter, in my opinion. Who cares? But the moment someone else looks at it, you have forced an emotional connection on someone that they didn't want. And that's lust. So be cautious with it, okay? Let's be reasonable. Now I've gone and worked myself up. So I think I'm going to end the stream a little early today, as I sometimes do. Thank you for watching the morning show. Let's all hope for better days. And oh my God, the cat chewed up my tea bag. What the hell is wrong with this universe?